diamond, pearl, precious golden and silver objects. 2. Very pure earth. First Krishna. 3. Pure water. Second Krishna. 4. Pure fire without smoke or kindling. Third Krishna. 5. Pure wind, without dust. Fourth Krishna. 6. Blue visibles, like the Kintsing Chan. Fifth Abhibhu and fifth Krishna. 7. Yellow visibles, like the ginger flower. Sixth Abhibhu and sixth Krishna. 8. Red visibles, like the flower of the red lotus. Seventh Abhibhu and seventh Krishna. 9. White visibles, like white snow. Eighth Abhibhu and eighth Krishna. Grasping these characteristics, the yogin fixes his mind on the pleasant meditation on the pure light belonging to each of these visibles. Then the yogin experiences joy and happiness filling his entire body. This is what is called the pleasant vimoksa. Since it has pleasant things as object, it is called pleasant vimoksa. Since the ascetic experiences this happiness in his whole body, it is said that the yogin actualizes it physically. Having obtained this mental happiness, the yogin turns his back and rejects the 5 objects of enjoyment and is henceforth without joy or happiness. This is indeed a vimoksa. As the yogin has not yet destroyed the impurities, it happens that, from time to time, passionate thoughts arise in him and he becomes attached to pleasant visibles. Then he vigorously and energetically cuts this attachment. Actually, this pleasant meditation is a result of his mind. And just as a master magician, in the face of objects that he has created magically, knows that they come from him, so the yogin is no longer attached and no longer pursues objects. Then the vimoksa liberation changes its name and is called sphere of mastery over the object abhibhidvatana. Although the yogin thus masters the pleasant meditation, he is still incapable of extending it. Then he returns to grasp the pleasant characteristics. A. Using the power of the vimoksas and the power of the abhibhidvatanas, he grasps the nature of pleasant earth and gradually extends it to all the empty space of the 10 directions. He does the same with water, fire, and wind. B. He grasps the nature of blue and gradually extends it to all the space of the 10 directions. He does the same with yellow, red and white. Now the abhibhidvatanas are transformed and become the krishnayatanas spheres of totality of the object. These 3, namely the vimoksas, the abhibhidvatanas, and the krishnayatanas, are one and the same thing, with 3 name changes. Question. The first 3 vimoksas, the 8 abhibhidvatanas and the 10 krishnayatanas are either objective considerations or subjective considerations. If they are objective considerations, since the body still contains skin and flesh, how can one see only white bones in it? Besides, the body is constituted by an assemblage of 36 substances. Why distinguish them and consider them separately? The 4 great elements entering into the constitution of the body each have their own nature. Why exclude 3 of them, water, fire and wind, and consider just the earth element? The 4 colors are not blue exclusively. Why then practice meditation just on blue? Answer. In these considerations there is an objective consideration as well as a subjective consideration. Bodily characteristics, objectively, are unpleasant. That is an objective consideration. Among outer things, there are all kinds of colors of pleasant nature. This is also an objective consideration. The pleasant and the unpleasant come within objective considerations. On the other hand, when one takes the small number of pleasant things and extends it to consider everything as pleasant, when one chooses the single element water and extends it to see everything as water, when one chooses the small amount of blue that exists and extends it to see everything as blue, and so on, those are subjective considerations that are not objective. D. Vimoksas 4-7. The four formless Vimoksas are similar to meditations practiced in the four formless absorptions. The person who wants to acquire these Vimoksas first enters into the formless absorptions. The latter are the gateway into these Vimoksas, for the sphere of the infinity of space. Turns the back on and rejects material objects. Question. If it is the same for the formless absorptions, how do the formless Vimoksas differ? Answer. The worldly person who acquires the formless absorptions is a rupin without form or without the concept of form. But when the saint with high resolve acquires these formless absorptions, he is a rupin absolutely and without regression. That is why it is called Vimoksa. It is the same for the other Vimoksas coming within the spheres of infinity of consciousness, nothing at all and neither identification nor non-identification. The eighth Vimoksa. Turning the back on and suppressing feelings and concepts as well as all mind and all mental events is what is called liberation, consisting of the cessation of feeling and concept. Question. Why is the absorption of non-identification not a Vimoksa? Answer. Because when beings with wrong view who do not discern the defects of dharmas enter into the absorption of non-identification, they identify it with nirvana, and when they emerge from of this absorption, they feel regret and fall back into their wrong views. This is why the absorption of non-identification is not a Vimoksa. On the other hand, by the cessation of feeling and concept that suppresses all distraction, the yogin penetrates into a nirvana-like cessation. Since he acquires it by attaching to it just his body, the Sutra says that he actualizes it physically. 2. The 8 Masteries. A. General definition. The 8 spheres of mastery. 1. Having the notion of inner visibles, he sees outer visibles, few in number, beautiful or ugly, and he cognizes these visibles by mastering them, he sees them by mastering them. This is the first abhibhu. 2. Having the notion of inner visibles, he sees outer visibles, numerous, beautiful or ugly, and he cognizes these visibles by mastering them, he sees them by mastering them. This is the second abhibhu. 3 to 4. It is the same for the third and fourth abhibhayatana, with the only difference that, not having the notion of inner visibles, he sees outer visibles. 5 to 6. In these ayatanas, not having the notion of inner visibles, the yogin sees outer visibles blue, yellow, red or white. These are the 8 abhibhayatanas. B. The first abhibhu. Having the notion of inner visibles, he sees outer visibles. Himself unheard, he sees outer objects. He sees few of them. Being rare, these objects are said to be few in number. The path of seeing not being developed in him, the yogin sees objects few in number, for, if he saw a large number of them, he would grasp them with difficulty. In the same way, when deer run about in confusion, one cannot see them from far away. He sees the beautiful or ugly. At the start of the practice, the yogin fixes his mind on an object, the space between the eyebrows, the forehead, or the end of the nose, with the notion of unpleasant.